6 months after launching, we reached 1 million run rate in recurring revenue. 2 months after we hit 1 million, we hit 2 million, and we closed that year at 3.1 million run rate. We were one of the lucky bootstrap company who got traction immediately. We leveraged giveaway strategies among different profiles, as you saw from me on Twitter. We gain around 80k unique visitors per month. Inbound marketing is by far our number one strategy. We stand out the crowd from our competitors by not hiding ourselves for our customers and for LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Whereabouts are you based?
I came back from holiday yesterday afternoon, so I'm now back in the Netherlands.
Oh, Netherlands. How are you? How's the holiday?
Quite good. I was on a family holiday in Spain, other part of Europe. So went there for 3.5 weeks. So slowly trying to get back in grinding mode.
Yeah, like I'm planning a holiday at the end of September for 1 month. I'm quite worried, like blocking out one whole month in my calendar. I'm a bit nervous.
It feels it feels stressed somehow. Or
Yeah, it's like the thinking of having to get clients or potential new clients to book afterwards or turning them down, and then at the same time trying to juggle requests and inbound leads. How did you handle that? Or is your team pretty big where they were able to take over on your behalf?
yeah, we are at around 44 colleagues in total.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that makes it a bit more easier for me. And as I'm sort of more early stage startup founder, they push me out of operations as that's not my best skill. So I facilitate a role where I'm more the face of the company, trying to build out the brand and be more outgoing. So they don't miss me that much in the day to day, luckily.
How old is your company?
Yeah, we launched Expandi, our current software, 3.5 years ago, mid-November 2019, where we started this LinkedIn automation adventure.
What is Expandi and how does it automate LinkedIn? What does your software do?
Yeah, we can actually do a lot of things. If people think about LinkedIn and especially automation, it's mostly of the times about connection requests and follow-up messages, right? And I need to agree. That's of course how we started, as that was 3 years ago. The main purpose from people to leverage LinkedIn, especially for lead gen, pulling over a list, adding as much people as possible to an automated campaign and blast out enough messages to get a result. I think in mid 2021, LinkedIn. Was heavily fighting spam, and they changed somehow the rules of the game, where they from one on the other day not allowed people anymore to send hundreds of messages a day, and they reduced the amount of actions and limited it to somehow around 100 a week, which was quite challenging for most people who were used to do outreach for many years on a certain way. And now they force people to come out of the comfort zones. And if they wanted to stay on the platform, they needed to change approach, adopt on new ways of being successful on LinkedIn. So we changed with them and we built in a feature set which is more in line with what LinkedIn actually want all of us to do and behave on the platform. So a lot of things changed in comparing from the moment when we start to now. We are more focused on what LinkedIn want all of us to do on the platform, and we see they moving more and more into the content direction. They want all of us to contribute towards that ecosystem, to produce content, to engage with other people's content. And I think somehow change towards more social engagement as a starting point, instead of pulling out burst targeted lists and blasting out hundreds of messages. So yes, since we started, definitely a lot of things changed on the platform, and we try to, as I just mentioned, change a bit with them to make it still convenient for people to leverage it. Aside from the content part, hosting LinkedIn events, is an interesting opportunity to take advantage of. As before, lots of people were focused on one, or let's say the fourth pillar of the SSI score, engaging with other people and making connections. And after people connected, they're not approaching them anymore. So we all have a lot of connections and followers, and we don't leverage them. So hosting a LinkedIn event or a masterclass, or let's say sort of an online webinar, that's quite easy to do on LinkedIn. And if you do it from a company page, that automatically opt-ins and can capture all the email addresses, which you can use along other channels or after your live event. We built in a feature set that helps you to promote your event the right way, as that's a challenge for people. After publishing, for example, one post that you host an event next month, people do not know what to do to promote it further. And a tool like Expandi, as we designed, can help you to do it well prepared and attract more than 1,000 people who sign up for almost each and every event by using the playbooks, which we tested ourselves.
Got it. And does your software do that all automatically, or do you sort of service your clients and you guys sort of are like an agency as well?
Yeah, we are fully SaaS company, so we're providing the software, and alongside that, we are teaching people on how to do it by providing master classes. We are hosting events ourselves, and we are quite strong in creating playbooks with tactics, with practical strategies, included the how, the why, how we connected the dots, which messages we use for that specific purpose. We put in the results, the screenshots to be able for people to do it themselves. So we're not providing a managed service.
During the testing phase of trying the different messages, trying the different strategies, adapting to the new algorithm, is it you that's sort of doing all the testing and finding out works and then you create the masterclass, or do you have someone in-house that their full-time job is to try new lead gen strategies?
Yeah, and in the back in the early days, so let's say in the beginning of our journey, we were quite a small team. So all the founders and all the people who were on our team were wearing multiple hats, and we were doing a lot of things ourselves. Now we have that much people in our marketing team that we've dedicated different people for such kind of a task. The only thing we always do is that each and every strategy we publish, we executed it successfully on our end. So that makes always sure that everything we publish is not fluffy. It's tested. We got the results ourselves before we decide to turn it into a playbook.
Interesting. Yeah, because how I first came across you, Stefan, was on Twitter. You would always create these very insightful Twitter threads, or these, yeah, Twitter threads, and it was about how to sort of get leads on LinkedIn. And your Twitter threads would get tons of impressions. I don't know if it was you writing them or your team, but that's how I first came across you.
Oh, that's super cool to hear. As I leverage Twitter a lot to build out a brand, to get awareness, especially as we are focused on US audiences, and it's by far one of the number one channels there. I grow my audience on Twitter by doing a lot of giveaway strategies. Yeah? So where I ask people to give a comment to receive a certain guide or practical value bomb on how to be successful in LinkedIn lead gen. And these ones, they gain on average 100K plus views and a lot of comments. Inbound marketing is by far our number one strategy. We leverage since day one within Expandi, as we are still bootstrapped. We needed to be very creative, and in the early days we did not have a penny left to do a traditional marketing or paid advertisements. So we were fully focused on creating practical pieces of content and distribute it quite well. One of the ways we do that is by leveraging my Twitter profile or my LinkedIn profile and distribute these guides to all the people who engage with it.
Who writes your tweets, Stefan?
That we have a content team for that. and I usually have a check-ins on a weekly basis with them as I try to share or build Expandi in public, and they try to squeeze everything out of me. What happened in the last weeks, good but also bad things, and sharing my founder experiences and challenges and struggles I faced, and then they turn them into threads and pieces of content for Twitter. Yeah.
How did you find and hire someone that could create tweets and threads that get over 100,000 views?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, as we do all of these things among different channels, and for the especially for the Twitter, I got approached by a couple of agency owners who specialized in providing such kind of a managed service for that, and I work now for at least 1.5 years together with one of these agencies who are coming from Portugal and who helped me with putting out the right content at the right time.
Oh, wow. So that means the Twitter, you have help with an agency. How about your LinkedIn? Do they also help you with your LinkedIn as well?
Yeah, LinkedIn. No, with LinkedIn we do it ourselves.
Got it, I see. Right now, Stefan, what's the price point of your service, of the SaaS product?
We distribute it mainly for self-service people. That's our biggest revenue stream, and it starts from 99 USD per LinkedIn profile per month per subscription. So we charge per seat.
And then right now, over the last 3 years when you've bootstrapped the company, how did you acquire clients for your SaaS company?
I was a former agency owner to go back step to go a step back. Sorry, I was a former agency owner myself, helping people to get a better results on LinkedIn by leveraging lead gen. At a certain time point, I was running out of time with two left hands and one Excel sheet. So I thought, let's be clever and try to search for some tools which can at least automate some repetitive, boring tasks so I can focus on the intelligent things. Most of these tools, they were Chrome extended at that time point. And now we're talking about, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago, which are also mainly designed for single users who want to run one automation, run one task. And I faced a couple of challenges after leveraging these tools. With all these Chrome extended tools, they sort of stop running after I turn off my device. And my wife was calling me for dinner. I needed to close all these actions and all these things, which was quite inconvenient. I found out that a couple of these tools at that time point were cracked down by LinkedIn. So there exists a huge buzz around LinkedIn safety. Especially all our US friends wanted to leverage these tools to the fullest, but nobody wanted to get in problems with LinkedIn. So we decided after we launched Expandi to pronounce ourselves as world's safest tool, as I saw that was by far the number one challenge people had on LinkedIn. They wanted to automate things, but wanted to do it safe. And of course, we tried to build intelligent architecture and made it in the cloud so that it was running 24/7. We provided a dedicated country-based IPs to every account owner in the system to mimic the human behavior way more. In the beginning, I was praying that it did not fall apart. But luckily, my technical co-founder and all the colleagues there kept it alive. And I was just screaming it from all the roofs that Expandi was the only place to be to do a safe automated outreach on LinkedIn. And I think that brought us a lot of traction. Aside from that, I faced a couple of challenges by leveraging other tools, as it was quite hard to get in touch with them. Somehow, as they saw it as a gray area, it was not that easy to get in touch with these founders, to get their takes on what directions LinkedIn was moving forward, to provide them with the feedback to make the software better. And I was always talking to sort of an avatar, or I needed to wait 2 days before I got a reply on any emails. And I thought, let's do it different, because if Bill Gates, the owner of Microsoft and also LinkedIn, want to catch me, he will find me anyway. So there's no need to hide. And let's try to manage this company as just a normal company where I use myself as a personal touch point and the face of the Expandi brand, so that it will be more convenient for people, that it is just a real trustful company and people get in touch with me. And as a former agency owner, it helped to attract a lot of other agency owners who were already in love with LinkedIn, who were leveraging automation, and who actually faced the same challenges as I did when I was an agency owner. So it helped to create a more than warm bond with all these same people. And third, I think what helped us a lot was that all these competitors, they were just pronouncing on their websites 10x your results if you use our tool. And nobody was explaining on how to do that. And we leverage our own tool to grow Expandi with super cool out-of-the-box plays and tactics on LinkedIn nobody was doing before, and only the best ones. I took them apart and I turned them into playbooks where we learned people these tactics. And because of the fact that we leveraged it ourselves, we knew that they were working and we heavily distributed it. So we drove mainly on inbound marketing. And up until today, still 95% of our new signups are coming from inbound marketing.
Wow, so you guys aren't doing outbound, connecting, sending messages to get clients. It's the other way around.
Yeah, we became sort of the CNN of LinkedIn lead generation, the central place to be for people who want to do a proper outreach on LinkedIn, as we provided them with the best ebooks, with the most insightful tactics and plays. That inbound is by far the number one gainer in driving traffic and signups. Of course, we do outreach. And we try to get larger organizations into our ecosystem, but it's still a huge amount of inbound what brings the money in.
Interesting. And all the inbound traffic, is it just from organic Twitter posts, LinkedIn posts? Is that where all the inbound comes from?
That brings definitely a lot of people. We host masterclasses and we distribute pieces of content to promote it. And we want to bring people in our ecosystem by signups for these masterclasses, activities, or ebooks. We leverage giveaway strategies among different profiles, as you saw from me on Twitter. And we're quite strong in SEO. So the organic traffic is quite huge. I think we gain around 80K unique visitors per month on only our blog content.
Wow. Between like the ebook, the masterclass, organic events, how do you balance all these different sort of channels?
Now it becomes a bit more easier as we have more people in our team. I think our marketing team contains around 10 people. So we have a community manager who's in charge of our socials. We have growth marketers in our team. We have product marketers, content managers. So we can divide way more easily than in the early days, all these different tasks. And we build out the proper workflows so that it's quite common for everyone that if we came up with a new article or a new ebook on what to do and what steps to take to gain traffic for that.
Interesting. So let's say you're a consultant and you maybe sell a course, so you have something that's around $1,000 to $3,000, and they want to sort of get five clients a month. What would be your recommended strategy, Stefan?
I feel the most comfortable on LinkedIn, and I think if you focus on B2B, it's by far the number one lead channel, as it's the best data source. Everybody has a LinkedIn profile, and especially all the founders or growth marketers you need for that purpose to approach, they are active on a daily basis. As LinkedIn is changing, and we all see that they want all of us on the platform to contribute towards the creator economy. So leveraging yourself as a personal brand to build out authority, I think that's quite an interesting step to take. So contributing towards that ecosystem and start pushing out content on a daily basis to share your story as a founder and how you solve problem XYZ for a specific audience with these pain points. I think that's a good start. Of course, it will not get that traction you hope for from day one, but it's just repeating the system and keep going. And after a while, you will find out what types and pieces of content will work for you and will resonate with the audiences you want to reach. And then it's all about the social engagement from that point on. If you create an audience, you can decide to start hosting a live event on LinkedIn or a webinar or a masterclass, as people slowly see you as the authority to solve that problem. And then you can invite all the people who are following you or who are your first degree connections and who see you on a daily basis pushing out content about that certain topic to join that free live event. If you host that live event from a company page, which is quite easy to do in the LinkedIn settings, it automatically opts in and gathers all the email addresses. And these email addresses you can leverage after the live event. So it's not needed to follow up on LinkedIn, but you can maybe do a retargeting to, you can email them to ask a feedback. You can do them an offer about something you promised in that event. And I should say that that's the most social, healthy way to do it without being spammy or without being only focused on making connections and do a cold outreach to audiences who are maybe at that time point not ready to buy from you.
When you host a live event, let's say, I actually use me for example, we have 9,000 followers. Will people show up to the live? Like, I feel like when we go through, when I watch people live, it's like 10 people viewing, 5 people viewing. I rarely see a live with 1,000 audience, like 1,000 people is like very difficult to have show up live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, and the first event or masterclass or let's say webinar, it particularly don't need to be a real LinkedIn live. My first event got maybe 12 attendees. One was for my supporting wife, and the other 11 were forced colleagues. So I understood that first of all it is easy to set it up and to host it and to plan it, but it's quite challenging on how to bring these people into your event. We deep dived and we learned by doing, and we created some playbooks on how to gain people and especially your first degree connections towards your event. So I'm pretty confident if I share with you or with the audiences you want to reach that playbook, that it will definitely help you to do a well-prepared event. And if you start on time, it can automatically, with our event inviter, invite, let's say 50 or 100 of your first degree connections, so that you at least have a couple of hundreds of signups before the event.
And when you have, let's say, 1, 2, 300 signups, how many people actually show up to the event on average?
It depends on how active you promote it and about the reminders. It needs to be a catchy topic. It for sure needs to be something, a pain point they face and useful. It doesn't need to be fluffy. I should only focus in the event about practical use cases or things they can get value of. And if you promote it that way, that they will learn the tricks to achieve a certain result, and you push it, have a proper funnel, then I think a 30% should be able to join the live session. On average, it can be sometimes a bit higher, depends on what time, what day, what continents you are focusing on. As I can imagine, from what I saw, you're in Australia, right? So yeah, that's a bit more challenging for maybe audiences on other parts of the world in terms of a time. But if you record it, you can always follow up to the people who are not joining. You can select them and set them apart, and bring them maybe in the next one, which you can host in another time. You can do a giveaway to people who were not able to join. You can repurpose content. You can call it a masterclass, and you can do a giveaway strategies as the examples I showed on Twitter or LinkedIn, that everybody who missed it out was not able to join. I hosted a masterclass that brought these and these results. pull in a GIF about a small recording, and then you ask people to leave a comment to attract new people. You can send it through DMs on autopilot, and you can ask as a second message their feedback about the episode or what they saw. So I think there are a lot of things you can do to promote it before, but also afterwards, and attract even more people for a next one, or people who might be interested in the topic. But it all starts, of course, with knowing your customer, knowing their pain points, their challenges, because that's maybe one of the most eager things they want to be solved.
Got it. And Stefan, do you think most of the revenue is made on the live webinar slash event, or is most of it made through the emails you collect? So let's say you.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, as not everyone is in a buyer decision at that time point. Most of the things we, for example, share in such a webinar are new for them, and then they need to think about it. They at a certain point, if we send them new pieces of content, then it will be on top of mind, and then at some point they will come to sign up or to buy, but definitely not all in that live session.
What's your thoughts on email? Because I remember I was running a campaign on Instagram and Facebook ads. We collected like 70 emails, and remember I emailed all 70, zero response rate. But if we ran an ad to get 70 sort of Instagram messages and we messaged 70 people, that had a higher response rate. But I was surprised that I got zero out of the 70 people to respond to my opening email. I did it. It was an accident. I actually didn't want to collect emails. I was supposed to run ads to collect messages, but we accidentally did it wrong. So I was like, okay, since I already spent $200-300, let's try to email these emails we collected and see if we can get any traction. And within the first email, zero replied.
Yeah, and how did these people sign up, or how did you capture their emails? What was the purpose?
It was a Facebook ad looking for people who are interested in starting an e-commerce business, and if they were, they would put in their name and email.
Okay, and then did you send them over something, or an ebook, or a document, or what was the next step you did?
Since it was on accident, I didn't have a funnel set up, so I just emailed everyone, hey, hopefully maybe you remember my advertisement of me riding a cycle. This is me, Andy Mai. I just wanted to reach out to see if you're still interested in e-commerce. It was like a opening email. That's the one I sent.
Yeah, maybe it did not match their expectations somehow. I think providing them with some value immediately. I can share you some examples on how we did it, for example, which might work for you in the future as well, or to at least give you some ideas or inspirations. I will send them over after our chat.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'd love that. Stefan, running a SaaS company, what's your biggest lessons for retention? Like, do you guys have a big churn rate? Has that been a difficulty?
Yeah, in the beginning we were growing so super fast that we were not that much focused on churn. We were, aside from that, also with quite a lean, inexperienced team, including me as a founder. And then magically we grow to a certain amount of revenue, which was quite impressive, and realized after we faced a plateau on different areas that we needed to change our approach, and that maybe one of the challenges we had was bringing in more experienced people in the company who walked the talk before. From that point on, we were slowly more focused on reducing churn, as we never ever even tried to onboard people. We never ever tried to go after people who left and investigate why they left. We never ever tried to upsell them to an annual subscription. So there were actually a lot of opportunities. And we redefining now the infrastructure on pain points they gave us as a feedback, why they leave us, and do things better. For example, proper onboarding. And at the end of days, they somehow just want to get a result. Or the tool was maybe designed by developers and not that UI friendly for them. So they got lost. So that are things we are working on right now. But agree that on the self-service side, the churn with a low ticket product like we have and can be cancelled on a monthly base can be a bit higher than average. So it's an ongoing challenge.
When your team was smaller, how did you get that initial traction where you were just growing at such a quick pace and you hit an impressive annual recurring revenue number? Like, what was the strategy at that time to grow so quickly?
I think we stand out the crowd from our competitors by not hiding ourselves for our customers and for LinkedIn. Just giving the company a brand and let people feel, okay, we are real people. You get in touch with us. We take demo calls. We provide you with feedback. We are not that scared for LinkedIn, and we really manage it like it's just a long existing company. We help people with the best playbooks and tactics. So at a certain point, we became the CNN of LinkedIn lead gen and the place to be for people who want to do outreach, to learn the tactics, to get the best content and ideas on how to be successful on LinkedIn. And we pronounce ourselves, as I mentioned earlier before, as world's safest tool, which was by far the number one problem of all these people who wanted to use these tools, as especially our US audiences, they all want to automate a lot of things. And on the other hand, they don't want to get in problems with LinkedIn. And I think these three things combined were the main pillars who brought us the most traction.
Got it. So, like, let's say someone is in the physical fitness niche and he's a gym coach. You would recommend him to find an avenue, maybe it's Instagram, post reels every day, repost the reels on LinkedIn, YouTube, create like a long form, maybe 10-minute video for YouTube every week, and just create a lot of content within that niche. Is that the advice?
A practical content. I never push out with my team a fluffy content. It was always tested. There are always proofs. It was always structured with the how, the why, the place, the results, and screenshots from all the proofs. So I think if you want to translate it towards a fitness coach in this case, for example, you need to make sure that he's in the best shape of his life to start with, and not pushing out fluffy content, but learning people at the real house, the real why, so that he build out credibility and trustability before people maybe start to follow him, as that's what he want to achieve as a next step. And after they follow him, he wants them maybe to opt in for a guide or an ebook or maybe a session. And from that point on, as a next step in the funnel, I can imagine he want to get these people in a one-on-one calls to sell his service. It takes some time, so I think community marketing can be an interesting one, a safe place where people with similar challenges can engage with each other, and where he can get a feedback about what's actually for this group of people the main pain points, what is most challenging for them, and to understand these audiences so he can use these hooks to resonate these kind of people.
With that gym coach example, like, it'll probably take him a year of consistently creating content, and after a year he might have a total of 50,000 followers across all platforms. Probably with the organic inbound leads, make around $500,000 a year, trading his time, maybe he has a course. How do you go from that, where you're the face, you're creating content every day, you're doing the consulting course, to sort of automating that or taking a step away from that and get to a place where, you guys were doing 1-2 million ARR and it was very lean and very automated. Even you were able to automate the content. What advice would you be for that consultant or that gym coach?
Yeah, I think the automation of the process and structure the process be one of the most important things. And I think on Fiverr or Upwork there are a lot of experts available who can low cost help and structure that so that he can focus on the more intelligent things. So let's say thinking about the quality of the content, about how to distribute it, about following up, hosting these live sessions, and all these more important things. And then the one he hired through Fiverr or Upwork can help him with build out the process, the systems, the follow-ups, what will happen if people opt in, what will happen if people sign up for a masterclass. You can set up the framework, He can experiment with messaging, A/B test different approaches to see what's really engaging. But I should focus on that.
Got it. Over my last 6 years, in the first 2, 3, 4 years, we did only organic marketing, created valuable content on YouTube, was consistent, and we were getting a bunch of hot, warm leads inbound. But then, I got burnt out from filming content every single day. The organic content was like the moment you stopped, also you had to rely on the ups and downs of organic reach. You had no control. It felt like it wasn't a real business. So then I transitioned and I tried to build this sales funnel where, would run ads, collect phone numbers, had appointment setters, calling the phone numbers, book them into a strategy call, had high ticket closes. And that sort of ish work, we were able to break even, but that was so tiring having a bunch of different appointment setters, different high ticket closes. It felt like that wasn't sustainable as well. And now we're transitioning into like lead nurturing, where we have 1,000, 2,000 leads that we follow up with, check in. If someone doesn't reply to us, check back in 2, 3 months, and sort of building that relationship with the customer, giving them value over a long period of time, over a period of a year, year and a half. Do you find that to be the way business is transitioning, or do you think organic marketing will always work and be a good way? What's your thoughts on that transition of mine?
Maybe there's not one right answer towards that, as we see a lot of examples that it can be successfully done on different ways, of course. We, from own experience, we leverage inbound marketing as a main strategy and pushing out practical content to serve a certain problem. In our case, LinkedIn lead gen, and we stuck to that. But there are also a lot of examples from companies who grow super fast by running, especially in the e-commerce, only on Facebook ads, for example, and they blow up with only that, and they never put out a piece of content. So yeah, maybe it's hard to say, and I can only speak from what we've done or what we've not tried. But in our case, it definitely works. And if the content is SEO optimized, the good thing is that it will remain because people will still read these articles. They will still go to these pieces of content, and they will sign up or they will check in. So it's not that cost. It's a bit more cost effective on the long term. If you stop paying on an advertisement, then the traffic is gone. And in the early days where we had less money and we did not even have the money for traditional paid marketing, we decided to do it with out of the box, raise and distribute content a bit different than companies were doing before, to be unique. It helped us to build out a brand in the niche where we operate. And based on the content we pushed out, I think we are in the LinkedIn automation space, maybe the most known company, and will show up in every list. And I think that's all the effect coming from inbound, sharing so much value ongoing and continuously, which can be done with the paid marketing, way harder.
Interesting.
But yeah, it took time if you want to get ranked SEO high. It's not overnight. So that's always a battle between getting results. And so I understand the worries there. But maybe in the beginning we focus more on distributing it manually, leveraging our personal brands, leveraging our own profiles to do a giveaway strategies, to ask people for a comment, to engage with other people's content on LinkedIn, on other socials, and write comments there. So it was a bit of a more manual work, but I not should do it different if I have a next opportunity. I should leverage 75% definitely the same inbound strategies.
Stefan, you brought up LinkedIn articles, things that can still get reach a day, a month, a year later. Is that something that you do a lot of, or is it just LinkedIn posts?
It are mainly LinkedIn posts. Yeah. And then in the early days, we bootstrapped with engagement pods to get a bit more traction and engagement. We leverage Facebook groups about certain lead gen topics, especially for agency owners or for growth marketers. And then we did the same in these groups after we aligned with the group owners that we want to provide value to this closed community, and that we wanted to do that on a friendly way if there were possibilities to cooperate and not only spam their audiences, but really try to provide value. So we first became friends with these group owners, and sometimes they had a couple of requirements, sometimes they were not open. But the ones who were, we became the main contributors in these groups by providing value. Aside from that, we built our own community, so our own close group with people who were interested in the lead gen topic. And we added banners on our website, especially on our blog articles, to join that group, and mentioned that there are a couple of big names in the industry in there. You can straight in contact with them in every live session, in every follow-up, in every download from an ebook. We added that we had a closed group, and there's a couple of spots left for people to join. So we ongoing push people to be part of that community, and that was also for us the first place to share things, to ask a feedback, to understand what was going on in people's minds, what were their problems, what they liked about our software, if they were using it, what not, what challenges they faced in general in lead gen, to get ideas for new pieces of content to improve the software. So yeah, the community part was quite important for us to do all these things.
And then building community, growing a following, it takes time. It takes a very long time. You know, it takes a year to probably go from 0 to 50,000 followers. Did it take a year to also blow up your company, or did it blow up within the first 2-3 months?
6 months after launching, we reached 1 million run rate in recurring revenue. 8 months after launching, so two months after we hit 1 million, we hit 2 million, and we closed that year at 3.1 million run rate. So we were one of the lucky bootstrapped companies who got traction immediately, and I think it's because we defined our audiences quite well. We only went after people in the early days who were already in love with LinkedIn. We are leveraging automation, and who were, let's say, Stefans like me, who were agency owners and who resonates completely with my story and the challenges I faced as an agency owner. So we don't try to be for everyone, and had a hyper targeted ICPs. Of course, also other people signed up in a later stage, and we serve more audiences than only agency owners and growth marketers. But that was what we did in the early days, and that works at that time point quite well for us.
That's insane. How did you quickly locate and target so many agency owners within a period of 6 months, gain their trust in a period of 6 months, and create content and have it reach them specifically in that first 6 to 12 months?
I think it was also a bit word of mouth. I was running, for example, in the first 4 months after launching, 700 plus demo calls myself in different time zones. Exhausted, work 17 hours a day, but it also gave me so many information about why people are considering us against all the established names in this particular industry. What's the real reasons why they wanted to buy? Is that we have a couple of additional features, or is that they are be able to get in touch with me as a founder, that they get my take on what direction LinkedIn is going, and what that they can give a feedback on features we can build for them or which can be helpful. So I think it's a combination of doing that, and we, as it's a bit of a gray niche, what we do is not illegal, not forbidden by law, but it was somehow a bit challenging in relation to LinkedIn's terms and policy. That helped us to differentiate ourselves from all the competition, as nobody was doing it at that time point. So end of days, they were hiding themselves for LinkedIn, and I did the opposite. On top of that, I pronounced Expandi as well safest tool out there, as I found out in my journey that that was the number one problem people face. They want to use these tools, but they want to have the feeling that it's safe, that there's real people behind the software, that we're not scared for LinkedIn. So we took all the risks there, and we are sort of the frontiers in this industry to shake up this entire automation market. And then we came with the best practical content for people on how to get a result. So if I should break it down, I think it's not that I'm the most intelligent marketer out there. I just took advantage of the things I saw happening in this industry and leveraged these three pillars to get ahead and stand out of the crowd of let's say the worst competition.
And Stefan, you've sort of built like a beautiful flywheel model where you show people how to get leads and how to get clients. In doing so, you get more clients for your software company. And in getting more clients with your software company, you can show people how to get more clients. And you have this constantly growing flywheel effect. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what we try to achieve. But yeah, as we discussed before, we also face churn on the self-service side. It's always a cat and a mouse game. But if we bring in more customers than who are leaving us, there's always opportunity to improve and try to close the back door. And then it gives us a time to do that or to experiment and to test. But I think it's a common thing with a lot of low ticket SaaS companies, with the main challenge to keep providing value.
As someone that might be a gym trainer or gym coach, is it worth it for him to create content on how he gets clients, how he does sales calls, or should he just focus on fitness content and not talk about the business of getting clients and so documenting his journey?
I think documenting his journey to build out authority is never a worse thing to do. Maybe it feels uncomfortable in the beginning as we are used in most of our cultures that it's only good to share positive things, and that it feels a bit rare to share some failures or things which, but for the credibility, it will definitely help to let people see that, oh, you're just a human. It's not only a success story. You also face the challenges and the problems. But yeah, to gain customers, he first needs to understand what's his audience, as he can't serve anyone, and he needs to understand what's the main problems of these audiences and why are they considering to work with a fitness coach in that case, and what are their obligations to not do it or objectives.
As I use LinkedIn, it's, as I'm scrolling through the home feed, I don't really see the same people again and again too often. I don't know, maybe my feed is not that good, but I'm not seeing common faces that I build an attachment to. Do you find that the case? And if so, how do you create content where people can see you again and again and build that relationship?
It's an interesting question, especially about who's seeing your content, as maybe that can be different per profile. How active are your audiences on LinkedIn? If you don't see the same people, maybe you have a lot of people in your audience who are pushing out content, which can be also positive. But you usually, I think it's only a couple of percentage of people from all your followers who are active on LinkedIn and contributing towards the creator economy. If you do it yourself, you already stand out of the crowd. Keep in mind that there is a lot of people who see your content, but who are not engaging with it. Maybe it's a 90% plus for people who are just passive watchers, but who definitely see your content, but yeah, you don't know it as they not like it, they not comment on it, or they not get in touch with you, but they definitely know you.
We post like one clip a day on LinkedIn and we get maybe 1 to 2,000 impressions. So we maybe average around 8 to 10,000 impressions a week. But the impressions doesn't really convert to anything. How do you convert your views or how do you get more views?
I can. I did an experiment, for example, on my own profile, where I started after I got it back from LinkedIn early this year from scratch, where I committed myself to create 100 days ongoing pieces of content, and I experimented with different formats to see what's working, what was not working. Most of the pieces did not get that many engagement, and a couple ones they took all of it, and it resulted in 1.7 million views in 100 days. But it came from mainly a couple of posts. I can share you the results of that experiment, which we turned into a blog article to share our experiences with you after the chat.
And then, did the 1.7 million impressions over 100 days, did you see a lot of people message you, a lot of people interested in Expandi? Did it translate to leads?
It that definitely did, especially the giveaway strategies, as these ones, these giveaway strategies, they force people to follow me to give a comment, and then we followed up with auto DMs to share them the guides. They downloaded it. They need to leave their email, and we build out a funnel to do. So it depends on the types of content. I got on one ebook 5,000 downloads in 3 days, for example, among Twitter and LinkedIn with just 2 posts. In the meantime, as we speak, I will share with you the ebook I referred to about how to promote your LinkedIn event up to 1,000 attendees, right? It contains all this in-depth strategies and the plays on how to do that.
I'll copy these and I'll make sure we put it in the show notes and description of this, so our audience, you guys can also check it out as well.
And the second link you will find now in the chat is about my content experiences after committing and posting for 100 days in a row, where I shared all the things happened.
Stefan, does your company rely on LinkedIn? Meaning, if LinkedIn did an algorithm change, or if anything happened to LinkedIn, would you guys be hurt, or are you guys really reliant on it?
Yeah, we rely actually fully on LinkedIn. Not always feels that comfortable, especially as it's sort of a hate-love relationship, where we also see that they change on a daily basis their algorithms and make it try to make it more difficult for tools like us to reach the platform. As first and foremost, we don't use an official API to do that. On the other hand, you can say and have your opinion about what we do, but we are not abusing their 2 main problems. Out of by far the number 1 problem is spam. We help people and don't allow people in our platform to spam other people. And we also try to educate them as much as possible by sharing valuable content with plays and good tactics to educate them to get a fast results. You should be okay with them, right? You should say actually that. On the other hand, if they really wanted to crack down all these tools, I can't imagine LinkedIn can't hire better developers than all these 100 tools out there. So on top of that, everybody who's leveraging our tools is also paying for Sales Navigator. So we keep people longer on the platform. So it also has a lot of advantages for them. But in the day-to-day, we see that their AI detection algorithms are changing, and they actively improving it. On the other hand, they failed 4 times with automating Sales Navigator with own teams. So who knows what the future will bring, but I believe that we are here to stay. Otherwise, they've cracked down it already before.
Do you want to sort of continue growing, expanding, and then sort of go into different verticals and different social media platforms, or are you sort of pushing for an exit?
Yeah, in our vision, we really believe in LinkedIn, and yes, I think we can consider ourselves as a solution in the sales enablement space. We want to stay on LinkedIn, but we want to diversify and not rely only on the lead generation pillar. But we are working now in our roadmap on touch basing on the content part. So how we can help with AI automatically for people to create content, to plan it, to schedule it, to get engagement on it. We want to do a better job on the scraping part so that we always can separately help people with enrichment, with data, within sort of a data intelligence. And as a 4th pillar, LinkedIn's income is coming 70% from advertisements. So we searching for ways how we can contribute towards that ecosystem. How can we be of value for people who want to run advertisements? Can we automate things there? Can we build out a library, for example, with all existing advertisements to see which ones performs better? So that are things we investigating and trying to build out in the near future to not only depend on be depend on the outreach pilot, but we definitely want to stay on LinkedIn in our roadmap. I'm not sure if it's realistic aside from that to think about an exit as the platform independency. We are open for everything, but there's nothing concrete right now, and we are actively focused on building out the company and investing to do that.
Stefan, is there money in LinkedIn? For example, like every day I log in, I always get automated messages, automated connect requests with messages, in mail. If I go through my home feed, everyone's sort of like, it feels like everyone's trying to sell something on LinkedIn. How do you stand out? What's the solution to that? It feels like everyone's trying to sell something to someone.
Yeah, that's yeah, where I referred to in the beginning of our conversation a bit how people leverage these tools. They only think about connection requests and follow-up messages, but yeah, that's get a bit bored. That's become less successful as everybody has enough of receiving this. So I think it's a more social engagement, be different, hosting and for example, an live session and go after these people on a friendly way, engaging with other people's content, show interest, be visible. I think that's the right ways to experiment with and to do things differently than we were used to do for many years, where we had no limitations or restrictions on it.
With Expandi, do you guys have a sales team? Do you guys still need to do demo calls? Or have you guys built a strong enough brand where they can just come to your website and they can just join for $99 and there isn't a need for a sales team?
Yeah, on the self-service side, that's going indeed automatically. So people sign up for a 7-day trial, and then with automations, we try to convert them for people with who plan to add more seats, like agency owners or bigger companies. We have an inbound demo opportunity.
How do you feel like the market has changed within the lead generation space? Do you think people, like, I feel like people are like no longer want to jump on strategy calls, discovery calls. People sort of know that it's going to be.
They don't want to be sold, right? I think that's exactly what I see as well.
And I think you're right with that observation. What would your advice be, given that people know they're going to be sold? They don't want to jump on a Zoom call. They don't want to book in a Calendly call. What should consultants do?
I think the better you understand the problem of your audience, and the more quality content on how to solve that you give away for free, it's a strategy that will contribute towards building out, first and foremost, trustability, showing that you're the expert in this particular niche. And at some point, if you keep doing that, people will come to you, and it will make it way more easier for you to get them on board or in your program or in your course. Soft touch-based approaches or move people towards a community, an active community, and a safe place where they can share ideas, where there's a lot of people with same challenges, where you can provide solution, tips, tricks. I think that's more the way how it is. And if people see that they get so much value from you, then they slowly start also to understood that you're the go-to person to solve the challenge as well.
Got it. What's your thoughts with people being straightforward and saying, hey, let's jump on a call to see if we're right fit, to see if we can work with each other? That might have like a 5% conversion rate versus, hey, let's jump on a call. I'd love to help you out. I'd love to give you a free strategy session. And that sounds more enthusiastic. So you might have a 20% sort of booking rate, but both of them are still the same sales calls. Like, what's your advice on the approach to get people on the phone? And does it matter? Can you just overpromise, get people on the phone, and that's all that matters?
No, that's not my style or Expandi style to overpromise or to create unrealistic believings. We try simply to do it by sharing value, by showing authority, and it's maybe a multi-track steps you need to take. They need to find you, they need to believe you, they need to join some of your events or activities, and the ones who are ready to take in next steps, they already believe you after all these steps. If you're in the call, then it's not needed to sell the solution anymore, but just about how you're gonna solve the problem and the workflow. They should be already convinced.
The last topic I want to get into is team building. Stefan, how did you go about sort of growing your team, and whereabouts is sort of majority of your 44 team members based?
We all work remote. Also, we have a couple of offices. Actually, everyone is working remote from mainly different countries in Europe, across Europe. We have a lot of people in Bulgaria, in Ukraine, in Poland, and the Netherlands, and Lithuania, one in the UK. So we presented in a lot of European countries, and it's especially for me with worse management skills and a worse process-orientated mindset as a creative person, quite hard to do that. Luckily, I recognized it early enough to bring people who are really capable to do it way better than me into the company. So I'm not that involved that actively into it anymore. And I'm just outgoing. I represent the brand. I try to do as much as possible keynotes on international stages or such a podcast or live sessions or master classes to be of value for Expandi, to attract new people, to attract new colleagues, to try to build in public and find people who resonates with our stories and our journey. So the managing part is definitely not done by me. The more people, the more challenges there will be. It's a common thing. And it's especially the cooperation between, in our case, with the different departments together. I think that's on the moment the number one challenge. As they individually per department do their thing, but they don't see, let's say, always the bigger picture, and that they need to bond together to get results. So there's some room for improvements to find ways to do that better.
Stefan, do you have C-suite, C-level employees, and are these sort of virtual sort of employees and team members? And how do you go about hiring and building out that C-suite?
Yeah, we added up until now more people on a team lead level to and give them the opportunity and the ability to build out the teams. And we extracted one experienced person to join us in the management team. So we are not in the stage yet that we really added C-level people to the company.
And the team leads, where do you find team leads? Has it been through Upwork, Seek? Because I'm assuming they're also virtual.
Yeah, they work remotely as well. And these team leads, they were already in our ecosystem or friends of the Expandi family because they were customers or partners. And some of them we found through engagement on my profile, who checked in with me. Hey, I followed your journey for a while. I see you have open positions. I think I'm the perfect candidate. So they came through inbound.
Got it. And last question, with your Expandi, what's the most popular feature? What's the strongest feature? What do people come to Expandi for?
I think the most successful feature we at least leveraged ourselves already for a couple of years is the post engagement. So actually the retargeting strategy, and it will enable you to scrape anyone's post on LinkedIn. It doesn't matter if it's my post, if it's your post, from a competitor, from an influencer, from an industry expert. If you go to the basic search bar, you enter a hashtag and a keyword, and you select the tab post, it will show the most relevant posts in relation to that topic. And if you find a post with a lot of engagement, you can go to the three dots, you click on copy post link, you paste it in Expandi, and within a split second it will pull over all the people who like and commented on that piece of content. So That's quite a funny one. I will share with you as we speak. And it's actually quite easy, so it's not even needed to create a content on your own. And you can leverage it or use it by leveraging other people's content. And if you look back in the chat right now, then you see an article with a breakdown on how to leverage that strategy and what steps you need to take to execute that successfully.
That just made me think of another question I wanted to ask you. Stefan, what's your thoughts on AI? What's your thoughts on ChatGPT, that whole movement? Eventually you'll be able to like input all your tweets, give it all the data on what had the most impressions, and then ChatGPT can look at the best performing tweets and create tweets based on that. Like, what's your thoughts on AI?
Yeah, I do not leverage it that much myself yet, but from all the developments and all the opportunities I see, similar like you bring up now, it will definitely become quite important part of the near future, especially to improve, to do things better, to do things more efficient. Or it can be on the content part, it can be with tweets, but also in replies or follow-ups if we still keep talking in lead gen. Our team is also working on some cool stuff there in that area, but it's still quite early days. But I see a lot of opportunities for sure.
Last question, Stefan. Any recent discoveries that you have implemented to your day-to-day life?
Sorry, what are the reasons?
Any recent discoveries, learning, lessons that you have implemented to your day-to-day life?
Yeah, I created a routine for myself where I try to take care as much as possible for a balanced lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. So I start almost every day with a gym session. That's what I implemented to my day to day. I create each evening a list of tasks I wanted to achieve at least in that week and review it. That's the two most important things I try to do every day.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Stefan. I really appreciate your time today. Where can people find more about you, follow you? Where's the best place for our audience to connect with you, Stefan?
Yeah, that's for sure on LinkedIn, of course. That's my LinkedIn profile and my Twitter, where I'm the most active and have the biggest audiences. I just try to share my learnings as a bootstrap startup founder to help other people avoid making the same mistakes. For the people who want to do a better job on LinkedIn, I think we've by far created the number one place to learn about tactics and strategies to discover. So all these people I should recommend to go to our Expandi blog to learn more about what's possible in terms of LinkedIn outreach and what's working and not.
Yeah, I've noticed that with your social media content, you sort of document your journey on bootstrapping a company and growing it to that 10 million AAR goal. How do you balance between the documentation of the growth of your company versus teaching people how to get leads and talking about lead generation?
Yeah, the content I push out are more focused, or let's say from a founder perspective view. We leverage other profiles, especially on LinkedIn, from our team members, and they are more focused on the practical level and how to help people getting leads. So we try to reach different audiences with different profiles, and each profile is focused on a main audience. And in my case, it's mainly founders, especially bootstrap founders from different kinds of companies with the focus on SaaS.
And then when you leverage and use other team members or employees' profiles to talk about, let's say, lead generation, what happens if that employee leaves? Do you then lose all that following and all that audience?
Yeah, that's even more interesting question. Yeah, that's the risk of doing it, definitely.
Got it. Makes sense. Thank you so much today for your time, Stefan. I can really see how you are such an experimenter. You're such an entrepreneur at heart, sort of in the weeds, in the dirt. You like to test things, trial things, for example, that 100-day LinkedIn challenge. And at the same time, you're so humble and down to earth. You sort of are learning and growing. You know there's different things that you need to work on and improve on, but at the same time you also know all the things that you did really well in. So it's such an amazing chat with you, and we talked about so many different things. So I'm so excited for the team to chop this up and create many clips. So yeah, I really appreciate your time today, Stefan.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me, and yeah, I'm quite curious to see this episode come along. And of course, our content team will help you to distribute it among all our channels. And if you include my colleague Indevir, who's in charge of our community distribution, I will share it in the chat, then you can be sure that he will give his best to promote it to the fullest on our end.
Thank you so much, Stefan. I really appreciate that. Guys, if you guys made it this far into the episode, hopefully you guys got some value from this amazing episode. It was very technical, lots of strategy. I learned a lot, so hopefully you guys got some value today. And I'll see you guys next week with another episode. Peace.